Hi, Hers.
Yeah, hello user, how are you?
Yeah, I'm fine, Hers. What about you?
Yeah, I am good. Okay, so today I am taking your ReactJs interview. So first of all, we will start with the JavaScript question and then we will move on the ReactJs part. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So user, first of all, give me brief intro about yourself, like total, how many years of you have experience and how many projects you have done. So yeah, go ahead with your introduction part.
Okay, so I have 2.5 years of experience in building full stack application using MERN stack, and primarily I focused building on front end part, and some of the things I have created on backend also, like building RESTful API and connecting to MongoDB and writing schema, and apart from that, I have created two three personal projects uh, for myself, and I have learned a lot from that project. That's all.
Okay, great. So first of all, we will start with the JavaScript basic question. Okay. So
Okay.
first of all, tell me what is the difference between let, where, and const?
Okay. So let, var, and const are generally used to define a variables in JavaScript, and before ES6, we were using var to define our variables in JavaScript, but after ES6, let and const has been introduced. So the main difference is again hoisting, and so in hoisting, if we want to access the variable before its declaration and initialization, it should keeps we can access the variables. But in case of var, we can access the variable and we will get undefined. But in case of let and const, we get some reference error because of the temporal dead zone. So that was one difference, and another thing, we can reinitialize const variable, but we cannot reinitialize any uh, let variable. And redeclaration, going to the redeclaration, var can be redeclared, but the same variable cannot be redeclared using let. These three are the major difference between let, var, let, and const.
Okay. And what is temporal dead zone in JavaScript?
Okay, so in temporal dead zone means let and const and function expressions are generally hosted in temporal dead zone. Temporal dead zone means the time between the uh, variable creation phase and the initialization phase. So in JavaScript, all the code that we write in JavaScript is executed in the call stack. So it will be executed inside a execution context. So inside that execution context, the when the memory creation phase will be there to the initialization phase, that time is called as temporal dead zone. So in the temporal dead zone, the let and const variables are actually hoisted.
Okay, great. Okay. So tell me the difference between spread operator versus rest operator.
Okay, so spread operator is used to get the individual elements of an object. So we can it of an iterator, like iterator object, we can get the individual objects as a value, and in uh, comma separated value we can get the object value, and in rest operator we generally call this as we can say rest parameter, right? So if we want to receive the data inside any function, n number of value we can receive as in rest operator, rest parameter, that we can say. So these are the difference.
Okay. And what are the closures function in JavaScript?
Okay, so closure means a child function has its has access to the parent function's variable after the execution of the parent function. we use closure for many advanced level operation in our JavaScript mainly. So when a function is created and called inside any parent function, that we call this as a closure.
Okay. And tell me the difference between promises, callback hell, and async await.
Okay, so I will go first with the callback. So callbacks are generally used in asynchronous operation in JavaScript. Generally, we know JavaScript is a synchronous single-threaded language, so it can operate only one task at a time. But to perform asynchronous operation, because we need some time to get the data or some operate something on the data, so it will take some time. So in that time we cannot block our main thread, so that will be a bad user experience. So we generally use callbacks to operate asynchronous operation. So in callback, what we will do, if any operation is completed, then we will pass the function as a callback, and the callback will be called once the parent function has been completed successfully. But if we don't know when the parent function will be executed completely and correctly, and the correct result will be fetched, and it can call the callback function more than once also. So we are generally giving the control to the parent function. This is called inversion of control. That is one demerit of callback. And another thing, we can if you are operating so much operation, we can provide callback function inside callback function and so on. So that will be a horizontal scaling that we call as a callback hell. To avoid this, we use promises, and promises are generally empty objects which are filtered by some data after operating some asynchronous operation. So promises, we have three states. When the promises is started, it can be pending, or after getting the data it will be fulfilled, or if there is some error, it can be rejected. So according to the data we get in our promises, we can uh, operate asynchronous operation. Another thing you asked, something else.
Async await.
Okay, so async keyword is generally used to create a asynchronous function, async function we can say. So async function is used. What it will do, if you return some value, it will wrap the data inside a promises and return it. And also we can return any promises in promise in asynchronous function also. So we can use that async function to async function to operate on the async. We can use this async function to for our asynchronous operation. Then await is used to means inside the async function only to resolve the promise or reject. If we get the data, so it will resolve the promise. So that await keyword is used to resolve the promise or reject it. So whatever the data we get in our promise.
So which one you prefer for the API call, promises or async await?
Nowadays we are using async function, async await only, because that is more we can make our code more readable and optimized code we can write using promises. That can be a long promise chain using dot then and dot catch method. So we use async await. Inside try catch block we can handle our promise in async function.
Okay. And tell
Okay.
me what is the difference between deep copy and the shallow copy?
Okay. Okay. Shallow copy means if we are copying the reference of the object. So if we do shallow copy, if we mutate any data in the new object, then the previous object will also be modified, but the nested object will not be modified in previous object. But in deep copy, we generally copy the value, not the reference. So we can achieve that by spread operator only.
Okay. And tell me the difference between map, filter, and reduce.
Okay, map, filter, reduce are generally higher order function to operate on the arrays. So it will be inside our array prototype. And what we can do using map, we can map is generally used to get a new object after operating, get a new array after operating some operation in each of the elements, and we can get a new array. And in filter, we have given on the condition of the callback function, we can get a filter new array. And in reducer, we get a value after operating some data, like summation of all elements of the array. That are the major difference.
Okay. Can you please share your screen and open any JavaScript compiler? I am giving you one question in your chat box. Can you please check?
Okay, let me share my screen first. I think I'm not able to share hers.
Okay, no worry. Tell me, like here I am giving you one question in your chat box. Like, what is your approach for solving this question? You can tell me.
Okay, write a function that takes a string as input and return an object with the count of each character in the string. So we can use object. So we will operate through all the elements, and we can store the data in an object. Okay, so we can use for each loop for this.
Okay.
And we can create a object, empty object. If the first we'll check if the key is operate through all the elements of the string, and if the element is for each will not work here in the string. So we can use for op loop. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, we can use for op loop, and we can check if the string element, means single character, is present in our empty object or not. If not, we will initialize the key as value 1. And if not, what we can do, we can if the value is present, we can increase the count by 1, or if the value is not present, we can assign the property with the key and initialize the object with 1. That we can loop through all the string characters, and we can update the object, and we can return it.
And tell me the difference between call, apply, and bind method in JavaScript.
So call, apply, and bind are in function prototypes only. So call method is generally used to call a. These are generally used to set the context of this keyword inside inside a function. So in bind method, in call method, if we call a function and dot call, and inside that we can provide a object, then this will be referred to the object we have provided in the argument. And if same thing is happening for this apply method also, but the difference is if we provide any other arguments apart from the object, in that we can directly pass the argument by comma separating in the call method, but we have to pass as a array in our apply method. And bind method is used actually returns a new function it will return a new function which you can call later. Means we can set the object, and we can pass the object inside bind method, and we can get a new function to operate on the same, particular object only. So that is the difference.
And explain me like how event loop work in JavaScript.
Okay, you are saying event loop, right? So generally, as we can say, JavaScript is a synchronous single-threaded language. So it will operate one by one. But if the JavaScript finds any asynchronous operation like fetching the data or something async function, so it will just register a callback in our. So the asynchronous operation will be part of our browser only. That features are there inside our browser. So like timer function, we can we can give one set timeout function when we can register a callback. So that callback will be registered inside our browser, and after a certain time, if the operation is completed, we have to register that callback. Then callback will be pushed to our callback queue, and event loop will generally monitor the call stack. When the call stack is empty, then only it will push the callback from the callback queue and operate immediately. So the event loop will generally work as a middleware between the call stack and callback queue and microtask queue. So it will monitor the call stack, and if it is empty, it will push the callback function into our call stack and operate it immediately. So that is the main task of event loop in JavaScript.
Okay, so we will move to the React.js part. Okay.
Okay.
वीडियो में आगे बढ़ने से पहले यहाँ पर एक अपडेट देना चाहूँगा। मेरा एक कोर्स है कंप्लीट MERN स्टैक ई-कॉमर्स प्रोजेक्ट। ये 30+ आवर्स का एक कोर्स रहेगा फ्रंट एंड बैक एंड डेटाबेस एंड डिप्लॉयमेंट के साथ। तो स्क्रीन पर जो आप लोगों को कूपन कोड दिखाया गया है उसका आप यूज़ कर सकते हैं। आप लोगों को फ्लैट 40% का जो डिस्काउंट है वो यहाँ पर मिल जाएगा। आप लोग एक बार यहाँ पर उसका जो भी सिलेबस है वो चेक कर सकते हैं। और यहाँ पर मैंने 35 मिनट का इंट्रोडक्शन वीडियो यहाँ पर दिया हुआ है फ्री में, तो आप लोग उसको चेक कर सकते हैं। यहाँ पर आपको बैक एंड, एडमिन, यूजर मॉड्यूल, रिडक्स टूलकिट, फ्रंट एंड साइड सब कुछ यहाँ पर आप लोगों को एक एक चीज पेमेंट गेटवे, डिप्लॉयमेंट एंड सोर्स कोड के साथ आप लोगों को मिल जाएंगी। तो जल्दी से जाइए और स्क्रीन पर जो कूपन कोड दिखाया हुआ था उसका यूज करके आप लोग इस कोर्स को परचेस कर सकते हैं। फ्लैट 40% डिस्काउंट मिल जाएगा। So first of all, tell me the difference between virtual DOM and real DOM.
Okay, real DOM is the document object model of that is basically a tree of all the HTML elements. So real DOM is the actual DOM inside whatever we see in our browser. But virtual DOM is a representation of the actual DOM. That will be a copy of that will be a lightweight copy of the actual DOM. So React uses virtual DOM to update the DOM elements, we can say. That's why the React is first, we can say.
Okay. And what are the pure component in React.js?
Okay, pure component. Okay, I think I'm not sure about that, but pure components are if there are some states inside a component and we update the states, that thing is unpure component. But if you are not updating any data inside our component, that is pure component, I think so. I'm not aware of that actually.
Okay, no worry. Tell me the difference between control component and uncontrolled component in React.js.
Okay, so control component means if we update the state variables inside. Okay, I should have told that for control component only. So control component will be generally in which we can control the state, I think. I should explore more about this. I'm not aware of that. control and update.
Yeah, please reach out after the interview, okay? Because this is the main thing in React.js.
Yeah, sure, sure.
Okay. So tell me the difference between state and props.
Okay, state are the internal data of the components that can change over time, but props are read-only data that can be passed from parent to child component. That is unidirectional flow of the data from component to component, we can say. So props are the properties of the component that can be passed from parent to child.
Okay, suppose I want to pass the data from child to parent, then
Child to parent, we can't do that, but we can move the sorry we can't do that. We can use some external uh, library like Redux to uh,
but I
um,
don't want to use any external library, then how we can move from child to parent? Is there any way?
uh, we can use lifting state of method, like uh, we can use the state variables in topmost component, and we can use the pass as a prop. That we can do,
Okay,
but
and
child to parent it is not possible, I think.
okay. What are the hooks in React.js?
So the hooks are generally a simple JavaScript function that is provided by React to operate some operation, and there are majorly, means we can say there are three or four hooks that are majorly used in React. That is use state, use effect, and use context, and use reducer. Like this, we have many hooks to operate on the components and the data inside our component.
Okay, so tell me difference between use state and use reducer.
Okay, so use state is generally used for single variables, means single data only, and we will generally pass the variable name, and we can update the data in specific manner only. But it in use reducer we can use for complex state logic. So we can define many functions, different functions to operate on the state variables. So for complex logic of updation of the state variables, we can use reducer instead of use state.
Okay, so how you can manage the state inside your React application, because you need to pass the data from one component to another component. Then how you manage?
Okay, so we can use normally state and props to um, actually update the data. Use state hooks to manage the state, but we can use for global use we can use context API, and external library we can use Redux store to optimize the stored variables.
Okay. So tell me the difference between context API and Redux.
Okay, so context API, there are not major difference, I think, but the same thing, it uses the use reducer only in behind the scene. I have read that one somewhere, but I'm not sure about what is the difference. Both we can use for global state management, and context API. Okay, they both uses the provider method, that we wrap all the components in our provided tag, right? So I'm not aware of any differences mainly.
Okay. And how we can optimize our React application?
Okay, so first thing we can use lazy loading, means on-demand loading, that we can say when the user is not opening any web page or something, the component it is not required for the user, so we shall not render the all the components and bundle it inside our JavaScript file and load it to our JavaScript. That will be an expensive task. So what we can do, we can use lazy loading and wrap this in suspense, so that we can user can go to that component and it will be load after the user demand only. So that thing we can use for better user experience. Then we have use memo, use callback. That two hooks are there to memorize the function and memorize the variables, state variables, or some data inside our component to optimize the data. So for avoiding expensive calculation or something. And another thing, we can use memo while for avoiding extra re-rendering. We have many optimizing methods, but these 3-4 methods I have known.
Okay. And what are the higher order component in ReactJs?
So higher order components means like it is a like higher order function we pass function as a argument and return function as a we can return function as a value. So like that we can use higher order function. So higher order function will take a component as a argument and it will return a better component whatever we provide the logic inside our higher order component. So that thing we can use to update our component whatever we pass inside our higher order component.
Okay, and what are the React portals?
Sorry, React?
Portals.
Sorry, I'm not aware about that. I'll make a note of it.
Okay. And what are the profilers in ReactJs?
Profilers you are saying, right?
Yes.
Okay, that one also I am not aware of profilers. I have never used. Can you just means any alternative name is there or where you use? Can you tell me so that I can remember anything?
No, like these are the concepts we can use in our React application. Mainly, you can check after the interview.
Okay, sure, I'll check.
And how we can optimize the search operation in our React application, because time we use any third party API for the getting the search result, and the API have any limitation around we can say 500 requests per day, and like some of user have entering the many word and they can spend all the limit within 2 or 3 minutes. So how we can optimize our search query?
Okay, we can memorize the function. So we can say means I can give one example. Suppose Flipkart or some e-commerce website, they use this debouncing, we can say debounce function. So when a user is typing anything, means if we type anything, we will generally hit a API call, right? So we can make a logic, we can create a debounce function, so which will be called after some time of the after entering some, suppose 300 millisecond or something. We can use that debounce function to optimize our application API call. So we can use that debounce function actually for search result optimization. One thing.
Okay. So okay, I think that's all from my side. If you have any question, you can ask.
Oh, nothing from my side, but these concepts I am not aware of it. I should explore them all.
To explore them, especially like control and uncontrolled component, like you need to aware about that because you have like 2.5 year experience in ReactJs. So like these are the basic things.
Yeah, no, I have heard about the all the things, but I'm not aware of all the.
No worry, like because sometimes we forget about this basic thing. Is it
Yeah.
okay? But whenever you go for the any interview, at that time interviewer definitely ask this question. So that's why.
Yeah, sure, Harsh, I will check that.
Yeah, okay. Otherwise, you're all good. So yeah, you can tell me if you have any question.
Yeah, yeah, I got it. That React portals, React profilers, I will
Yes,
explore that.
main
Yeah,
question related to the like state management. Also, the you can say performance optimization question generally asked in the our client round. So you need to
yeah,
like prepare about like how we can optimize our React application, and you need to like you have strong knowledge MOUs project. You need to like aware about these are the concepts.
yeah, yeah. So I think that search optimization, that thing is fine, right? So we
Yeah,
can
you
use
are
the.
right for the search optimization using the browse concept. Is it correct?
Yeah, yeah, that's all.